started is not very easy. And I think for the fact that we are going to be talking about this topic today, perhaps the presenter is going to throw more light on that. So, Barawatu, our mission really rotates around three things: providing the right information, the right people, and also creating the right environment. The right environment that can foster curiosity and critical thinking in young people. So, the topic today is quite interesting, and I think it explores opportunities beyond what is taught. I don't think this was taught to us in school, but this is something that most of us are going to understand today. So, without wasting any more time, I would like to officially welcome Joy. Joy, you are welcome to the space, and thank you very much for allowing to do this with us. There are so many people who have been eager and waiting for what you have to share today. People are tired. Yeah, people are tired of going to sitting in traffic. They are tired of ends not making it. They just did something else. And even me myself, at the time I finished university, I thought about this, but then I'm like, but where I currently am in Uganda, how is it going to work? I don't know these people out of the country, So there are people who are eager here to find out how can they supplement maybe an extra on what they are currently doing. Joy, you're welcome to the call. Over to you, Joy.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my God, this is a new community for me, so I'm a bit nervous. I'm always used to talking to people on my TikTok, my YouTube, and when
They are the
Stefan
same
reached out,
people.
I was like, oh my God, I don't know who these people are. But I'm gonna calm down and then I'll start my presentation. I want to say thank you so much, Stefan. Thank you guys. I know a couple of you have watched my YouTube videos and a couple of you had DM'd me already prior to this, but I'm so, so thankful. I just want to set up my camera. So just give me 1 minute, just 1 minute.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So, guys, again, for those that are new to Borawatu, we are simply a community of mentors and coaches, people who have really taken time to understand personal development and the effects it has on people's lives, especially for the young people. Currently, Uganda is in a stage where we are gunning for middle income status. They say we have reached or we are still going there, but we need the young population to get things going. So this is the part that we are all playing. Joy, I don't know. For your information, she had mentioned that it's raining where she is, so the network might be a bit on and off, but I hope it will be stable. Joy, are you back? Okay, let's just give us some time. Just give us some time. All right, Joy, are you back? Okay, need to meet someone here.
Even I'm here, Stefan, I'm here.
Okay,
I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. I
You
can hear you.
guys, my power is out. My power is out, and I had told
Yeah,
Stefan
yeah,
before the call
I
that my
understand.
power is disturbing. So I don't know what this means. I know all of you have gathered here. I'm very, very sorry, but this is really Uganda Zabu. And this is one of the problems I face at work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
It's okay.
I
We'll
don't
work
know.
with
I
that.
don't know what you have.
We'll work
Because
with that. Yeah.
my biggest problem is I I cannot see my presentation. I cannot
Oh, yeah.
hotspot. That is the
I think what we can do, if your laptop is still on, you can just
Biggest issue.
yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me right now?
Yes, I can hear you, Joy.
Okay. So I cannot hotspot. I can't see my. If I hotspot, this phone call is gonna die. So this is what I was suggesting, Stefan.
Yep,
I'm not. I'm suggesting maybe we you can hear. Maybe we can do this again. But right now, I
yep,
would love to have this as an open Q&A session
yep,
because I know so many people have questions.
yep.
Yes. If my power comes back, I'll share my screen, and then we can get talking. But right now, I was thinking about this being an open Q&A session. We can talk via audio. Let me make sure nobody can call me within the next hour or so.
Yep.
And then hopefully I can come back and we can do this again. I really, really apologize.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Guys, I hope you had that
Yes.
communication. Let me to re-emphasize for those that are just joining in, our presenter, where she is, she's having a power challenge, so she's not going to be sharing her presentation. But I know there are people who have questions on how to get into this world. The topic today is exploring opportunities in remote work era. So I would like for you to invite you guys to ask as many questions as you can, such that Joy can answer those questions. So we are going to do this session again where she can share a little bit more detail
Yes.
by presentation. So that just keep updated to that. So for those who have questions regarding to this type of exploring opportunities, now will be the time. All right. Seeing Mufa Pendo, if you would like to ask a question, please go ahead. Okay. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe. Okay, guys. If you can type your
Hello.
questions, or you
Oh,
can. Oh,
he's
go
there.
ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, Stephen, how are you? This is Enoch,
Yes, Enoch.
and like I earlier told you, our organization is in a process of developing a social venture around remote working, and since it's still in its development stages, when I saw this presentation coming up, I really wanted to hear from the presenter.
Yep.
And so maybe for now, I would like to hear from her. What are some of the best best practices remote remote working?
Joe, you got that?
Okay. S- Yes, I think he's asking about best practices, and I've seen somebody ask a question. I cannot see the chat on my end. I'm not so certain why. Let me see. Oh, I've seen it. I can see right now. And then someone asked. Someone is not
I,
on mute,
I have
Stefan. I
muted
don't know
them.
who that
I have
is.
muted them.
Uh,
I have
Okay.
muted them. Go
All
ahead.
right. So yes. So Enoch asked about best practices, and let's talk about before we get into the best practices, let me answer the most basic question, which Irene had asked about what is the remote work era. So, in my opinion and in my understanding, we're kind of moving away from the traditional 9 to 5. That was something that was very common for me, I would say, like 5 years back. But right now, especially in African countries, we are moving to this whole work from home. And I think it was all because of COVID and everything that happened with the pandemic. So people are like, you know what, I can actually work from home and I can be productive or even be more productive than office and everything. So that's just what it is about the remote work era. It's very, very popular in countries outside Africa. As you know, it's very, very popular. People demand for 4 days, 5 days, maybe even they can do something called hybrid. 3 days here, 2 days at office, whatever it is, but it's something that's gradually coming into it now because we are used to the daily commute here. Majority of us find it very daunting. I'm gonna say, honestly, for me, it was very daunting. I have so many border accidents. I cannot even begin to to imagine, like, and share with you guys like so many. And I was like, no, I'm done with this. So I decided to start looking for remote work opportunities. If you watch my YouTube, I don't want to get into it, but I just stumbled on all of this, and this is how I started working remotely. Now I realize it's something that's not common for us in African countries because we are used to the 9 to 5 commute, as I said. However, there are companies abroad that want to hire African talent. Yes, yes, they will hire at, let's say, a subsidized rate than what they would normally hire, like in the US or the UK or wherever you are in the world. But wherever they are in the world abroad, but it will make sense for us because of the exchange rate, the currency, and everything else. So it makes sense for us because of the dollar. So if someone is being paid, let's say $500, $600, let's say weekly, this is a rough estimate, weekly or maybe bi-weekly, you can just imagine that in terms of exchange for us who are here in African countries. But for them, they're offering that. So it makes sense. So that's what I was talking about. Yeah. So now back to best practices. In my opinion, if someone say to me, Joy, today I want to start working remotely, what is one thing that I should know? The number one thing you should know if you want to thrive in the remote work space, if you want to get opportunities outside of your African country or wherever you're located, is you need to learn an in-demand remote work skill. That one goes without say. You need to learn an in-demand remote work skill. And majority of the roles that remote companies are hiring for are visual facing roles that they can see your work, where someone can say, oh, this person built this particular thing. And the tech bros and the tech sissies have been doing this for a very long time. When I started sharing about remote work, I had so many people, even here in Uganda, who were in the tech world, who were like, oh, I've been a developer for the last 5 years and I've been working remotely with this company. And I'm like, why haven't you guys been telling us about this? We're getting knocked every day. We are struggling with this commute, bad roads. But I realized for the tech people, it had really broken through. Now, for us who are in the non-tech world, because for me, I didn't go to school for tech. I have a comms degree, and comms marketing is a very, very good field to get into if you want to venture into remote work. So you want to look into learning an in-demand remote work skill in the marketing field. This can be email marketing, digital marketing. Digital marketing is the bigger encompass, and that will be social media management, email marketing. I'm thinking of the but about other forms of marketing. You can do the content creation. Every time you see creators on the internet creating content abroad, I want you to, if someone says I'm a coach, I'm a, I don't know, trainer or whatever, but most times service-based entrepreneurs, coaches, speakers, guys, they have remote teams. They have remote teams. You just see their Instagram, you like their posts, they're sharing inspirational content, but they have a whole team that's helping them run everything. So it's not only them who's getting the job done. And every time they want to hire, they look to hire cheap labor. I don't mean this in the terms that they're going to pay peanuts. There are those who will pay you peanuts. But when you're qualified for a role abroad, there's a way people look at you differently in terms of your skills. So visual facing roles can be things, roles in digital marketing, email marketing, as I said, social media management. For people who are in project management, that's very, very in demand right now. For the graphics designers, video editors, that one goes without say. That's very, very, very in demand right now. If you are here on this call and you think to yourself, okay, I have video editing skills and I'm thinking about how can I leverage them? How can I find people, clients abroad? I would say to you, create a portfolio that reflects the kind of work that clients abroad would want to see. That way, when you're qualified for a role abroad, they can see that this is someone who has done this, this is what they want to work with you for. So let's say you're very good at video editing, and because people do email me their portfolios and they're like, hey, so you take a on there. how is this particular person abroad going to relate to JESA? Even if you're a graphics designer, if you did maybe a particular project for this person here, but it's JESA on there, it's, I don't know, let's say Blue Band. I'm thinking just off the bat of a couple of brands, but they cannot relate. So you need to create a separate portfolio for brands abroad, brands they can relate to. Go on the internet, grabbing about people in, if you're in graphics design, video editing, that's something I would always advise. Grab a product-based brand, a service-based brand, and design for them. You don't need permission. You don't need permission to design something for Coca-Cola. We are like in an era right now where you have to just get going and do what you have to do so that you can for you. So the first thing is learn an in-demand remote work skill. The other end fields of project management, I would say marketing, as I said, marketing is very, very big in general. For my tech pros and tech CCs, it has been there for a very, very long time. And the reason why I say these fields are in demand is because they're visual facing. Even if you're a project manager here in Uganda, I would advise you to create a sort of portfolio that visualizes the kind of work that you have done. Let's say for a project here in Uganda, but also the possibility of volunteering for a specific period of time. If I was doing my 9 to 5 job I would do a bit of volunteering with companies abroad to get acquainted with the tools and the systems, because I'm telling you this, there's so many, they're very different. There are so many, they're very different. Some of you would may have never even heard of them, but you cannot know about those tools and systems if you're still stuck saying, hey, I'm gonna wait for this particular opportunity that is paid so that I can do. No, just volunteer of your time every week, and boom, you're in. You're already in. You've already entered into that particular space. You're now understanding the terminologies. When they talk about this tool, you understand. You have that experience, and that experience helps you get your next opportunity. So for me, the best practices will be learn an in-demand remote work skill, create a portfolio that clients abroad or companies abroad shy away from the idea of volunteering. And there are a couple of sites I can give off the bat if you wanted to volunteer. Sites like We Make Change. We Make Change every day is hiring volunteers around the world. It's a very common site. So you can sign up as an individual, volunteer a couple of hours of yours. And today, those nonprofits that are listed on We Make Change or companies that are listed on We Make Change, today they are volunteering, tomorrow they are hiring. I have gotten so many opportunities because I said I want to come into this company and do a bit of pro bono work for 4 weeks. But when they give me those 4 weeks, I work as if I'm being paid $2,000. And after 4 weeks, honestly, if they cannot see my value, then they let me go. But 9 out of 10 times, they do see your value and they're like, Joy, what's your rate? Because for me, I work as a freelancer. So I don't know if that was a mouthful. Enoch, I don't know if I answered your question. But yeah, that's part of what I wanted to say in the presentation. And also, it's very important for you to understand that when you want to venture into remote work, there are two avenues. You can enter as an employee or you can enter as a freelancer. At this stage right now in my career, I'm in the freelance space. I don't only work with one person. If you take a look at my LinkedIn, you may say, you girl, what are you doing? Because I have so many companies listed on there that I work with. But there was a time when I only worked with one particular person. But that's when I started. But you have the liberty to transition. And when I say you work as a remote employee, it's just like having a 9 to 5 job here in Uganda. You wake up every day, you maybe go for your commute, but now it's just maybe reporting this particular hours during EST time, and that's what it is. And then when you work as a freelancer, you're not tied to one particular client. You work with a number of clients and you get to set your own rate. And you can do this in whatever avenue. You can do this in any field that you decide to choose that you want to. So if you want to work as a graphics designer, as a freelance graphics designer, you can do that and say, hey, I got this particular amount of work. I want to do this particular amount. Yeah, You're kind of like your own service. You're a service-based entrepreneur. I always say for people who want to be virtual assistants, that's a very very in-demand remote work field. Virtual assistants, people offer a bit of admin and even marketing and creative support. You do need to, if you go into the freelance space, set yourself apart as a business, a brand, because now you don't have the support of a company. You're paying for tools, you're paying for systems, you're paying to be visible. So just think about yourself like that. So when you start thinking remote work, always think, how do I, which one do I want? Do I want my do I want to maintain the 9 to 5 life, but let's say remote in another country? Or do I want to get into the freelance space? I have autonomy over my hours. I have structure that I can create for myself, and that's what it is. So, yeah, that's what I would say in regards to best practices and remote work.
All right. Thank you, Joy. Our network is on and off. I think Enoch Joy has answered that question. Joy, if
Yeah,
you could
Chad,
go on.
done some good justice to it.
Mm.
I beg your pardon?
You've done justice to the question, but
Okay.
since this is a topic that I'm passionate about, I'll be asking you more as we go.
Yes, no problem. Yes.
Joy, there is another question here by Kevina. She was asking about the
Yeah.
venues. I hope you're reading it.
No, I'm not. Just give me 1 second. I'm using my phone, so I feel like the chat is lost. Okay, I think I found. Okay, Vina is saying, which avenues are best for one to find work like this? I've tried to sign up to be a virtual assistant for some companies, and yeah. So for me, I would say, first of all, Kevin, I would say be honest about what your current skill set is. There are different avenues that you can sign up for remote work opportunities. Let's say you're a virtual assistant. There are companies that would want to hire. For me, I've never gone through that avenue, so I'm not going to talk about that. But I know that there are companies that hire virtual assistants every day. But they're very, very particular about your skill set and what you have learned and everything else. Also, something that I have to say for all of us to understand is, let nobody scam you and say, hey, if you pay me this amount of money, I'm gonna get you an opportunity for work. No, don't pay. Don't pay. You don't need to pay for a job. You're seeking out your skill set and what you have learned and everything else. So don't pay for anything. Just seek out your skill set and what you have learned and everything else. So that's what I would say. If you're seeking out your skill set and you wanna improve your skill set, oh, you pay for this, that's scam. Now, there are different avenues to find virtual assistant opportunities. Facebook groups is a very, very big one. And I'm talking about it in the freelance space because I've never worked as an employee for as a VA. I've always worked in the freelance space. And currently I work with service-based entrepreneurs, a number of them, all these coaches, and so many of them abroad, they do need VAs. Facebook groups is a very, very great avenue. So for me, what I would normally do in the beginning when I had started was I would go and get into these Facebook groups, and normally they would have like days where people would introduce themselves and what they do. Or the first time you're in the group, say, hi guys, my name is Joy, I'm a virtual assistant, and this is it, blah, blah, blah. There's a way you present yourself in terms of like, I'm introducing myself, but this is like a soft pitch, not going in there and saying, you guys, I'm looking for work, I want to be employed. But no, no, no. I like to say, introduce yourself, and showcase the benefit that you're going to offer these particular people. Hi, my name is Joy Aliba. I'm a virtual assistant and I support service-based entrepreneurs in the aspects of admin, content creation, as well as sometimes I'll do the podcast for them, podcast management. And this is how she helps. I think I need a VA, or I've been looking for VA, and they would reach out and be like, oh Joy, I would like to connect and stuff like that. So that also networking communities have helped me a lot, because I've done this for a very long time. I'm in a couple of networking communities and they do meet on particular days, and that's when I throw in my soft pitch and everything. So for me, those are the avenues that have worked for me. I haven't paid a particular company.
company or anything. And currently, I've always gotten opportunities via referrals, and I haven't applied for a job, I would say, in like 2 years. I think this year is when I started really, really applying. But the beauty about when you work in the freelance space is when people know that you're freelance, and white people especially, they talk and they brag about you. They say, I have a good virtual assistant, and then someone is like, oh, I need a V, and then say, let me talk to Joy and see if she has time, because I work hourly, and that's what it is. So that's what I would say, Kevin. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Joy. I have a question I think that can
Yes.
illustrate, can help illustrate the picture for many of us here. Do you have an
Yes.
example, perhaps when you had just started, when you secured maybe one of those opportunities as a virtual assistant, how you walked through
Yes.
it, how you got the person, the kind of work, how it was, your hours, and maybe even just to paint the
Oh,
picture, the pay, like how much was it? And how were you even paid to the point where you're like, you know what? I think I can choose to do this. This is good.
okay. Yes. Yes. That's a very good question, Stepan. This is what I'm going to say. For any field, when you're getting into it, of course, in the beginning, they will pay little money. And when I started working $3 per hour, that was like in 2020. And the woman I worked with, it was an employee role. She was very good, but I understand why she was paying us $3. We were new. We weren't skilled. I think if I knew anything about marketing at that time, it was, I would say, 2%. And she was paying us and training us. But every time, every after 3 months, I think 3 or 2 months, because she was paying us, training us, she increased our rate. By the time I stopped working at her agency, I was being paid $15 per hour. And that was so good. That's when I quit my job. I was like, what? $15 per hour, and I'm working 8 hours. You guys do the math. You do the math. I work 8 hours every day. We pay $15 per hour. And I was like, this is very good. And that's when I quit my 9 to 5 job. Sadly, she closed her company. But what I understood was your skill set will always determine your rate. Also, when you are human beings, you would tend to lower your rate. And I'm talking about this in the freelance aspect. You would tend to lower your rate a bit, because you know that you are human beings. You are human beings. You are human. And you would tend to lower your rate a bit, because you know that you are human beings. And that's what I would say.
Joy, are you still there?
Just to feel like, oh, let me see if I can get a load of the admin, the inbox. If anybody knows anything about digital marketing, you get from having the meeting with the client, then creating the deliverables, then making sure you write the captions, then they are confirmed, then scheduling them out. Then you would have maybe a meeting with the other people on your team. Then we would have training hours, because there's so many tools and systems that we needed to learn. And she was so open-minded and hiring people from outside of the US, which was so nice. I think we had only one person. But generally, that was like the pay range, which has changed right now. And at the level that I am, I had a call, I think, last year, and this lady said to me, Jay, I wanna ask her, how much are you offering for this rate? And she said $3. Now, that was the rate I was getting in 2020. We're in 2024. The things I've learned, the kind of person I am in the workplace in regards to deliverables and everything has changed. I'm not going to accept $3. But if I was starting today, I would say to anybody who wants to get into the freelance space, because I don't like talking about money so much, because I feel like it's very subjective, but counteract your value and your skill set to the current rate of the people who you're competing with. Let's say you say, okay, 20, maybe the average virtual assistant in the US is being paid $20 per hour. What is my rate right now? Also, experience is very, very, very important. So I feel like all those things come to play, but you should reach a point where every 3 or 6 months you increase your rate, especially in the freelance space. I'm going to talk about that in the freelance space. That's where my mind is right now. So just always think about it like, even if I start low today, tomorrow I'm going to go high. Tomorrow I'm going to go high. That's what I'm going to say about starting out, getting paid, and everything. Now, let's talk about how do you get paid. I don't know if there are any Kenyans on this call, but Kenyans do have PayPal, which is something that is so good. We don't have PayPal in Uganda. PayPal is one of the most common ways to get paid. I remember when I started, I don't know if you guys have heard of Gateway Technologies. They tried to say, oh, we can receive your money, but they were taking 10% of my PayPal money because we can receive money, but we cannot withdraw. That's something you should know. If you open a PayPal account, you receive so much money as you can think about, but you will not be able to withdraw. You can try to go to whatever bank you want to go to. They will say they can offer you a card or whatever, but you will not withdraw your money. The only way, maybe if you want to go, is to go to these guys of Gateway Technologies, but they will ask for 10%. So if a client sends you $500, they're going to ask for 10%. And I'm thinking, did you guys work for this? No, not even the fees are this expensive. So I left. So I started speaking to my clients and said, hey, once I've won the person over during the call, this is my technique and it still works up to today. Once I've won them over, because I've won them over with my work, 9 out of 10 times, if they are referral, they're gonna work with me. 9 out of 10 times. So they say, hey Joy, maybe this person referred me to you, blah blah blah. I'm like, oh yes, thank you. And then we talk about what their scope of work is and what they want me to deliver, deadlines, everything, the whole 9 yards. There's something called onboarding. That's the bit of like onboarding to onboarding call. And then we get to the part about payment, and I let them know, hey, we don't have PayPal in Uganda, but this is how you can pay me. You can pay me via Wise. You can pay me via Sendwave. You can pay me via Gusto. Yeah. So I would always speak to them about them. And for teams that were international, because I've worked on a couple of international teams, and some of them are like, oh, we have an HR payroll system that helps us to manage our payroll at the end of the month. So wherever you in the world, you receive your money because there are the international systems that help you get paid. But most of the ways are Wise, Gusto, Sendwave. All you have to do is speak to your client. And let me tell you, if you're good, they wouldn't have a problem working with you, even if they have to use another tool to pay you. So that's what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Joy. You mentioned something, a rate of $15 per hour, and I did some
Yes.
quick math here. If it is a day for 8 hours in our currency, that is wild. That is wild. Wow. All right.
Yes.
So we have Brilliant. Your hand is up. Do you want to ask Joy a question? Brilliant.
Well, I think my hand was up in air.
It's okay. I'm glad that you talked about the payment system because that was also going to be the next question, especially with the PayPal
Yes.
thing here. It's sort of a challenge. But
It's a
earlier
very
you,
big
you
one.
mentioned that in the beginning you can stomach the fact that you don't have as much of recognition of the type of person you are. You don't have like a reputation with these people. So the question here is going to be about the
Yes.
portfolio. Like, how exactly am I writing this portfolio as a CV to be presented to these people that I have these skills, I can do this, I can do this? Because earlier you mentioned that you did some volunteer work for
Mm,
like about 4 weeks. Does
mm,
that build up to that portfolio?
yes.
Or if one has the skills already,
Yes.
they can present that?
So most times the reason why you need a portfolio in visual facing roles is people need to see. Let's say you're a graphics designer and people want to hire you from across the world. The only way that they can actually hire you is on the basis that they can see your work. So they need to take a look at your portfolio, and by portfolio, it's a collection of your best work, your best work that you can even imagine. But even if you're not in one of those visual facing fields, like I know my people who are in project management must be thinking, there is a way you can visually tell what your impact was in this company. The goal is that people don't have to think so much about the kind of value that you offer. They can actually see it. So if there's a way you can visualize your impact. If I was in, and this is something I spoke about on my TikTok the other day, because people who are in the admin space as virtual assistants, they send me their portfolios, but I would just see screenshots of calendars, and I'm like, this is why we're not getting hired. This is why you're not getting hired, because you're just taking calendar screenshots and that's it. Visualize your impact in a way that is appealing, that someone is like, oh, okay, this person did actually maybe help with maybe reducing the load from this percentage to this. I've always seen that that always does the trick. But for people who are in graphics design, video editing, what else can I say? People want to be social media managers. That one is so easy to really tell your story. It is so easy to tell your story in your portfolio. And a portfolio is very separate from a CV. It's kind of similar, but this is a collection of your work. You can talk about who you are as a person. Say, hey, my name is Joy, blah blah blah. Maybe as I help service-based entrepreneurs in these aspects, blah blah blah, and then highlight your best projects in there. It looks differently for people in email marketing. Like for my bro, it's just the emails that he has created, and there are different sites where you can create portfolios from. You can create a portfolio in Canva. If any of you have heard about Canva, it's a very, very good site. You can create a portfolio in there. You can create a portfolio in Behance. And those are cheap ones, which you don't have to pay. Canva, of course, has a paid version, but can't afford it for now. You can use the free version. But if you have the money, you purchase a domain, get a portfolio in your in with your domain. Like for me, I have a domain that is the remotechick.com. That's the domain I own. I'm able to afford that right now. So yeah, if I wanted to create a portfolio of everything that I have done, that I can attach it to that particular domain and have maybe a site and everything. The goal is to have a bit of a digital footprint, and it can always it can be through a portfolio. And something that's very, very important is your social media. Guys, your social media is so important. If you if you think to yourself, I want to work remotely, but I have a hard time showing up on social media, I hate to break this to you. It's going to be hard for you to find opportunities. You need to put yourself out there in a way that tells this. Let's say you apply for jobs, especially my people in the employee space. I always see this. And when you check out a couple of sites, there's a site called something cafe. I forget the name. But when you go there, there's a particular section when you're applying for a job where they say drop a link to your LinkedIn. Now, if your LinkedIn has no photo, it doesn't tell much about you. Like it's so blank. How do you expect to be hired for a role 1,000 miles away for this particular company? So they need to see a bit of your digital footprint, and your social media is very important. It's very important in this aspect. When I started out as a freelancer, I was doing a lot of posting on Instagram, and up to today, I don't have 1,000 followers on my Instagram. But just with those, I think 600, 700, I was able to garner attention and everything. So it's a good way to interact with people, get into groups, you get to network. Do you have Instagram? Do you have LinkedIn? So yeah, that's something good to consider. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Joy. Angel Miriam, you had a question. If you want to ask that question, you can ask it now. Um, the other question I wanted to ask Joy, as we read the others that are coming through,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
is the trade-off for people, especially in these countries, the high-income status countries? What is the trade-off for them that they choose to hire all the way, let's say, from Uganda versus, hiring someone close by to them? I mean, what's the trade-off for them?
Yeah. Honestly, it's cheap. It's cheap, and you get quality labor. You imagine paying someone, let's say, $2,000 per month for a job that maybe they were gonna pay $8,000. So it's cheap. It's always cheap, and it's just business. It's just business. But for me, that doesn't concern me. I really don't care, because I'm here in Uganda. I've never earned 2K before in my life. 2,000 US dollars. Just to let you guys know. Just do the math. You've never earned that money. You've done maybe 6 years in corporate, and you've never earned that money. And you have skilled up, and now you have this opportunity that's paying you over $2,000. That's the least of my concerns. I don't care if I'm being used. That's how I see it. I don't know about you guys. I
It's
don't care.
$2,000.
I,
Yeah.
I, I don't yeah, I don't care. And then you see the thing is it today it's $2,000, but the better you get, then tomorrow you can make a better bargain. You can say I'm gonna work for 3,000. I'm gonna work for 4,000. As I said when we're speaking about money, you will always grow in whatever field. You guys know even in the 9 to 5 space. Maybe if you worked for a company for 5 to 6 years, there's a point where you had to ask for like a promotion, like, hey, either you guys up my money or oh, I'm leaving for this particular company. And that always happens. You don't stay with the same company. Ever since I started working remotely, I cannot begin to tell you how many people I've worked with. And every time I work with somebody new, I have a new rate. So
Okay.
basically, that's their trade-off. Yeah. Mm.
All right. Kevin has another question. Yeah, Miriam, Angel Miriam, if you
Yes.
want to ask that question, please ask. But in the meantime, let me read Kevina's. She says
Yes.
she has come across sites that recruit. Miriam, are you ready?
Hello. Yes, I am.
Oh, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, TV, for this opportunity, and thank you so much, Joy, for that presentation. You've just talked about money, and my question is actually also about money. Are there
Mm-hmm.
cases when how do you actually get confirmation of enrollment? Are there cases when you're not quite sure, or like a farm or someone has taken you on and you don't have like some kind of what binding agreement or contract? How would you go about such a challenge where
Oh,
you can't really, yeah.
oh,
And
oh, yeah. Yeah,
has
that's a
it
very
happened
good
before that you
question.
have been lied to? That you have
Yeah.
actually been onboarded and then there's no action from them even after sending in your like account details from the fintech.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, Angel, that's a very good question. I think the thing I kind of like, let's say, totally ignored from this presentation is the aspect about contracts. Contracts are very, 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 very important. Don't do work for anybody who has not offered you a contract. Let me tell you why. So you wanna start working remotely, you've gotten an employee role, you're gonna be doing maybe 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. EST time. That's around like 4 to like 10 hour time here in Uganda. The first thing I would say when I'm looking for opportunities, I always make sure that I do a bit of a background research about the company, make sure they have a LinkedIn, they have an active website. When you search on LinkedIn, a couple people do have to come up who work with those particular companies. DM the hiring manager, say hello. Let's say maybe John. Hello, John. Just applied for the position of maybe project manager. I'm looking forward to meeting you guys. Yeah, just DM them. DM them. Be very proactive, and before you let's say let go of everything, leave your 9 to 5 job and everything. Make sure you have a contract. Make sure you have a binding contract. Don't leave immediately because that was my biggest fear when I said work remotely. And my mom would always say, Joy, how are you very sure that these people are going to be genuine and stuff like that? For me, I took some time, built rapport and everything before I left my 9 to 5 and then started pursuing these opportunities. But a contract is very, very, very important. A team members. You can just even make a Google search about a company. People always DM me about different companies. Joe, is this company legit? I'm just like, if you just search and you see a Reddit post come in and you're like, oh, these guys are scam, they are scam. But most companies that are remote fast abroad, in terms of like they hire people remotely, they are very, very proud about it because it's like, hey, they are considering their workers. So it's something that they will speak a lot about on their website. Their team members will be very active. So you need to do a bit of a background research as if you're getting a remote employee role. If you are getting a freelance role, like for me right now, I work as a podcast manager I have a virtual assistant, podcast manager, and comms specialist. Although in all those roles that I've listed, all of them are freelance, but all of them are in the genre of marketing. So I can, yeah, what I do overlaps in all of them. So when I was hired by the nonprofit that I support, as their comms specialist, we spoke about what I wanted to be paid, and you can decide. If you don't trust the individuals the first time you're interacting with them, ask them to pay you half. Ask them to pay you half of the payment as you get the work done. Let me tell you, if someone is genuine, they want to work with you, and they're like, I love what you're doing, they're gonna pay you. Let's say if the job they're paying is $500, tell them, this is how I operate. You pay 250, then I get the job done. But for me, most times, if it's a referral, I really don't really stress so much because 9 out of 10 times I already trust the clients I work with. So if they've referred me to this other individual, I'm like, okay, what's your structure? Ask them about what their structure is. If they send it back to me, then I tell them what my structure is. You always pay me 50% before I get the job done on what we have agreed to do. So, but I send them a contract. As a freelancer, you're a service-based entrepreneur. You're running a business. Remember that. I send them my contract, they sign my contract, and then they can decide to send me theirs. There's just like they do a lot of NDAs. They send their NDAs. I sign whatever needs to be signed, and that's it. I don't do work until I'm paid. So I would just always say two things so that you don't get scammed. Do a background research about the company that's hiring you. Make sure it has a bit of digital presence. If a company is remote first, I'm telling you it has a digital presence. But if you're working with a service-based entrepreneur, make sure they pay you at least 50% every time you do the job. Let's say if it's every month, they pay you 50% before you get the job done. So in the event that you're not paid or something like that, at least you've gotten away. It has never happened to me where I've gotten scammed. I have gotten ghosted before by a client, but I think she was just going through a hard time and she came back and paid us all our monies. I remember I had workmates even in Kenya, and then she was like, guys, I'm so sorry. I was going through it. I was going through a bad divorce and all of that. So those are the scenarios but I've worked generally with good people. So that's what I would say, Angel. Yeah, in regards to that.
Thank you very much, Joy.
Steve,
In what you just said, you mentioned something about you said 4 a.m. to 10. The version of the site. So I'm curious about that. Two scenarios here for someone, for you,
Yes.
especially from your own personal experience. How has the adjustment moving from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m., especially if it's very early? It's not very early, but you have to adjust. And especially now that I sent you a screenshot of someone who is thinking about transition from 9 to 5 and doing something like that. I'm wondering how they would be able to split that much time. That's like working a lot of time if they are starting from
Yeah.
10 and then the job.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not gonna over glamorize this for you guys and make it seem like it's not hard. It does get hard. If like for me, before I made the transition, I was doing my daily commute. I go to work. I was working at the Ntinda complex. I was working at the Innovation Village with Cola Studios by that time. I go and make my commute in the morning, and then by 4, 5 there, I think would work from 9 to 4. Yeah, I would run home. I had to get on a border and run home because at 5 we're supposed to start working for the agency I was working for at that time. And I would work from 5 to midnight, and I would be so tired. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, because remember, you have to wake up early, like by 6 or 7. Remember Kampala Jam. It was very, very fatiguing. I did that for a year. I think I was like a walking zombie. Like honestly, I would sleep the whole of the weekends in the beginning, but then after like 2 years, I left. I think 18 months I left. Yeah, that's when I made the transition and left. And also, because of the time zone difference, like right now, these are working hours and we don't have power. Like I'm messed right now. But because of the working hours and the difference, you find yourself working a lot during night time. Because from 1, people abroad, companies in the US are waking up. They are waking up. For me, I've only worked with companies in the US, so that's what my experience is. They're waking up and they're like, okay, Joy, good morning. Emails from 1 o'clock. Emails are just coming to my inbox. People are sending me messages. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Everybody is waking up. And for me, for people who have responsibilities, I know there are people here on the call. You have kids, you have a family, like you have so many responsibilities. Don't be hard on yourself about managing all of these things because your job, if as we all know, it kind of takes a big part of your life. For me, I don't have any of those responsibilities. I'm by myself, so I have the liberty to wake up to 1 a.m. if I want. But if you have certain responsibilities, just be kind to yourself and think about, okay, how do I get into this path but also don't ignore the other part of my life, because this can be consuming if you're working with people who are getting home at 5 and then for you your life has begun in regards to work. So just think about yourself always like that. Think about, if I'm looking for an opportunity, what is my current situation right now? I'm married, I'm a wife, I'm a husband, I have kids. How do I fit this into my schedule? What's the most feasible option for me? Don't just go head on to it without thinking about that, because you don't want to lose other aspects of your life pursuing something. That's for me, that's what I would say. So it's something that you always have to think about, because if you're working the whole night and you don't having dinner with your family, yeah, for me it's just not good. I always say to people, and I always, my mom always say, oh Joy, what's gonna happen when you get married? I told her we'll cross that bridge when that happens, and I know that my life will change when I get married or when I have kids. But right now in this current situation, this is what it is. So I like to say to people who want to transition to remote work, think about what your current situation is. Can I do it? But if you stay alone, I'm telling you, you can do this. You
Yeah,
can do this.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
Joy, I'm
Yeah.
going to play.
Steve.
I'm going to play devil's advocate
And
here and try to bring a scenario. We currently have a situation where most people, some of the young people feel like, you know what, maybe there are better opportunities out there, and they are compelled to take a flight and go seek out those opportunities. Would you say if someone decided to really put their head to it and concentrate on something like this, they might be able to even achieve the same result or even better? Because at the end of that day, for many people, it's really about the money. Would you say it can be better or, or the same?
yes, yes. That's a very good question, and I'm gonna give you guys a bit of TMI. You don't say too much information. Now, um, it is very possible. Remember, we are all chasing the money. Let's be honest, guys. I don't know what motivates you guys to wake up every day, but for me, I'm going to be honest, it is the money. And it's not to brag for me on my end, it's to just make sure that I don't beg. I just want to be comfortable with the life that I want for myself. So, the number one thing you need to consider is your willingness to learn. Majority of us are not willing to learn. I don't know how many people have taken my master class. I always have an end of month master class. Right now, since last year's when I started having it, I think you guys phoned me on YouTube. I kind of blew up on YouTube last month. But I'd been, and a number of people would join. But majority of us don't have the willingness. So let's say 20 people take the class, only two will come back and be like, hey, Joy, I tried this out and this and this. And then I've gotten a couple of responses. I have an interview. I'm like, wow, this is nice. 22. I want you to think about the difference. So my brother has the willingness to learn. I'm going to talk about my brother. First of all, because I'm very proud of him. So he's doing SCCA right now at the moment. He's about to finish. But last year, I think it was 2023, he's the last born. We're always giving him money. He's very spoiled. But I think he's like, I need to be a man. I need to take care of myself. And then he tells me, Joy, I want you to tell me about this remote work things. Tell me how do you get this opportunities. I told him everything that I know. He's doing SCCA right now at the moment. He's about to finish. Tell me, how do you get these opportunities? I told him everything that I know. He's doing that whole virtual assistant thing, but the VA world, by the way, is very female dominated. So he kind of felt like, I don't want to do it. He did a bit of podcast management. He did help a lady like this. Then he ended up learning about product-based brand. Let's say Coca-Cola, this crisps, Omo, anything that is like a product that you have to buy and take home. It's in your house, and it's very, very popular. Very, very popular. All you have to do is learn a tool called Figma. So this is 2023. He decides to start learning Figma. 9 solid months. Remember, this is something he has never ever done before, but he's figuring out this tool. This is someone who wants to be a certified accountant, and he's trying out this new avenue because he wants to get the money. As Stefan said, we're all here for the money. He figures out this tool, and he's like, wow, this is amazing. And by the end of 2023, he says to me, Joy, I think it was in December, we're actually going home for Christmas, and he's like, Joy, how can I get paid? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, by the way, I've been learning Figma. He's so like, wow. I was so proud, and boom, he started getting opportunities. Right now, I know he's at my sister's place right now, either complaining about the power or something. But I've seen him grow over the last few years. I think started 2023, now we're in 2025. The last year, 2024 up to date, he has grown significantly. He now has he works for an agency. He has 2 clients. One is the agency that he supports, and then another one is another brand like this. So it is very possible, but you just have to have a willingness to learn. Because I'm telling you guys, the things that they taught us in school not even applied in certain areas. For me, just a percentage of it applied. But they teach us a lot of theory in these African countries, very less of the practicals. So, Stefan, it is very possible, but it's also about the individual as well. I can tell you that this is possible, but if you don't hours, you're not doing the training, you're not learning the skill, the next year will be in the same year.
Yeah, thank you very much, Joy. I like what you have said. The things we learn in school and what you find out here, it's a totally different game. Yeah, but I like how this
See,
conversation has gone. Joy, I know one of the major questions that perhaps most people would like to know is that if perhaps this might be a thing for them, how do they get started? Are you the main person here for them to contact? How do they get started? How you talked about a master class? How do they get in on that and get the ropes of this thing?
Okay, I think I lost you for 1 second, Stefan. You're asking about the masterclass?
Yes, yes. The question was that there are people here who are perhaps
Mm,
maybe they're interested and they would like to start this journey. But obviously, we're all about working with mentors here because you already walked this journey. You know how to get to a goal
mm,
much
mm,
faster. How do they start?
mm.
You're the person they see, and you're the mentor in this case. How do they get in with the masterclass you mentioned? How do they contact you? What can they do moving forward?
You
sorry,
can
Joy,
always
before you
email.
answer that,
Yes, Enoch. Yes.
I just have two questions, then you can,
Yes.
maybe you're about to conclude.
Yes,
One is
please.
about, you talked about contracts. Would you
Yes.
share a tool or two that you've been using that you know they work for you well? And then the other
Okay.
one, about AI, the disruption of AI. I know it has disrupted this
Yes.
space a lot. So for
Yes.
seasoned remote workers like yourself, have you been able to position yourself so
Mm,
that you're not overtaken by AI?
that's
I mean,
that.
almost everything that you can do as a virtual assistant can be done by AI.
Okay, I'm gonna talk about AI. AI, what was the first question? I forget.
The first one was tools that you've been using for contracts that can
Oh,
enable
okay.
client contracts.
Yes. Yes, there are a couple of tools that are there, which of course they do have a bit of a free segment, and then they'll get into the whole pricing. Maybe they'll say you can send 3 contracts, something like Hello Sign. For me, the tool that I use for storing all my clients, everything, like my best. It's a tool called Indy. INDY. I'm so sorry. I wish I would show you this if we were on the screen. INDY. And it has my contracts. It's how I share my invoices. It does have a free option. Just search Indie freelancer and then you see the tool coming. I do pay for the paid version, but don't get so overwhelmed with paying for things right now at the moment. If you're very conversant with the Google Docs and everything, then you can create a contract in Google Doc and send it out, and you will receive a signature from this person contract or whatever. So that's something you should not worry about. There are so many tools. But also just to give you an idea, Parasol is the tool that I use. Now, let's talk about AI for a second. I know that the AI thing is very big. For me personally, I'm gonna give my opinion. AI doesn't scare me because I've seen right now at work how we have incorporated it to make sure that our work is smoother and everything. First of all, I've seen AI work, but AI doesn't have the creative ability that you and me have. We talk about the things that AI can do, but also we need to know that brands are very personal. So when we are creating content, like for us, for the people who I work with, let me give Laura's example. We have the mental health summit that's coming up, and we've been creating content and everything. The kind of work that she wants, it cannot be made in AI. It cannot be made in AI. The kind of work that the team has created right now, I'm just the assistant. For me, I serve as the assistant, but looking at what the team is doing and building everything, honestly, no, 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 no. Things like answering an inbox right now, there isn't an AI tool for that. If you're doing admin support and someone is asking specific questions and they're saying to me, I help my client Laura, she runs something called the Church Mental Health Summit every year. I help her. People will say, Joy, I lost my password. I need access to this. How can you send me this particular flyer? Let me ask you that question. Is AI going to do that? Is AI going to get into Kajabi? Is AI going to go into the Google Drive and download that? We haven't yet reached there. So my problem is I don't worry about AI. We have incorporated AI with what we have right now. Our chat GPTs and everything, we have a chat GPT for the company. The company knows all of our data, so we use it to create the content and everything. Majority of businesses are incorporating it into what they're doing. So knowledge about AI actually gives you an upper hand. But I do understand that a couple of jobs will be taken in a couple of years. But that's something I'll worry about. That's just my mindset. I'll worry about it once we're there. But AI doesn't have the creative ability that you and me have. That's the number one thing I stand on. Like, people still want human work. There's a category of people. So much as we worry about the AI and everything, I would say worry most about skilling up. Because if AI is coming for your job, then what are you gonna do to stand out? So that's what I would say. Yeah.
All right, Joy. I think we can wrap up the question I asked about those who
Yes.
would like to get to you.
Oh, people can get to me via joy at theremotechick.com. Stefan has my email. It's just joy at theremotechick.com. You can always email me. I always respond to my emails within 24 hours. I'm going to be honest, if it's a very, very peak season at work, it will take me at least 24 to 48 hours, 30, 60, but I'll always respond to my emails. And every last Saturday of the month, I have something called the Remote Work Masterclass. This is a beginner class for people who know nothing about, who was like, oh, I want to get into remote work, but I don't know where to start. We talk about skill gap analysis. Some people are like, Joy, I don't know what to do. We do the whole skill gap analysis in there and try to figure out where you're going to find your spot in the remote workspace. So yeah, and then also we talk about other resources in regards to that. We'll talk about the portfolio and everything. We'll talk about creating called the CV and the resume that goes ATS friendly CV and resume. So yeah, that's what the masterclass is about. Also talk about the VA role because I'm a virtual assistant and so many ladies and also men as well reach out to me in regards to that. So yeah, it's only 90,600. It happens every last Saturday. This month is on 31st May. I have had this since last year in March. So yeah, we're coming down on a year of doing this. Yeah.
All right. Oh my God, this has been quite a session. Even without the power, we have made
I'm
it joy. Thank you
Oh
very
my God,
much.
I'm so sorry. Bye bye.
You you
Thank you.
did well.
Thank you, guys.
You
Thank
did
you.
well. Guys, thank you very much for joining us this evening. I mean, this has been quite something to learn from, and I hope, Joy, we can hold you to that. You said we can do this again, and we see the visual part of this whole thing.
We
Perhaps we
can
can
do
do.
this.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So for those who
Mm,
are
yes.
just with us for the first time, you're welcome to Borawatu.